Hello. Today,
we're going to tell you about the EQ settings on Kenwood's new flip-out KVT 7012 BT. So stay tuned. So as promised, we have more videos on the 7012. Today we're going to talk about the EQ settings.
okay.
It's got a 5-band EQ and it's got source tone adjust.
What is source tone adjust?
Exactly. A lot of people don't understand what source tone adjust, so we're going to spend a second to tell you about it.
Okay.
Maybe more than a second. Okay, so you're listening to AM FM and it sounds like that. So you set up an EQ setting for it. Now, you go to auxiliary and it sounds like eh. So you're like, wait a minute, I just set up the EQ on FM. How come it's not carried over to auxiliary or CD, DVD or anything else?
Yeah.
Source tone adjust means you're going to set up a different bass and treble setting for each individual source. Okay? So that means you set up one for radio, you set up one for aux. You get the idea. We don't need to keep going. Okay, that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it allows you to, it means you understand that there are differences in sound quality. FM might not sound as good as Bluetooth, or Bluetooth might sound vice versa. So it allows you to go in and make individual adjustments. So with that being said, let's take a look at the EQ real quick, shall we?
Okay.
Alright, we'll go into the setup. We'll come over here. And first things first, we have balance and fader. Everyone loves balance and fader. So you can bang up to the top, bang around, and then this is a cool feature here. Just hit center and it'll take you back to center. Alright, as promised, let's get to the EQ. Alright, so here's our EQ. Now we have several presets: natural, rock, pop, easy, top 40, jazz. We'll hit jazz just to... powerful, and user. We have bass extension on and off. What bass extension will do is it's kind of like a crossover. It's the easiest way to describe it, but it's not. It will help accentuate the bass through the sub RCA output and not as much in the regular front and rear outputs, RCAs or power. You have your subwoofer level control here. To adjust the EQ, hit user, and then you can just tap, and you can do micro adjustments with this, or you can tap anywhere you want. Okay. Now, we'll come over here and we'll hit disc. Actually, we'll hit something else. We'll go to disc, and we'll go to menu, and then we'll go, and we'll hit enter. And as you can see, it's flat. When we're in tuner, we'll go back to tuner, menu, setup, enter. We had an EQ setting there. Back to disc, menu, setup, enter. As you can see, that might get to be a pain. Now you can go ahead and you can adjust that one any way you like. Alright. So that's that. Now we'll go over here. We have loudness on and off. Volume offset. What volume offset allows us to do is turn the volume up or down in reference to the AM FM. AM FM is the only source it has internally. So if you're playing AM FM and you go to CD and it's a lot louder, you can turn it down. If you go to aux and it's not that loud, you can turn it up. And what that allows you to do is so that when you're switching sources, you don't go from one to the next and get blown out of the car. You have another subwoofer volume control right here. It's the same one as the one that's here. Okay, it's the same one. It's just they've put it in 2 locations, so you don't have to go through twice as much work. I know, right? Bass boost on and off, 3-level control. Car settings. Now, what this is kind of cool. What this allows you to do is you can go in and you can tell it what type of car you have. So, do you have a compact, full-size car? Alright, so you have a full-size car. Now you can tell it where are the speakers. Under the dash, the door, on the dash itself, or under the dash. We already said that. So we'll say on the dash, and then the rear is in the door. No, it's going to be in the, you have door or rear deck. Alright. And then you can choose between full-size car, wagon, minivan, SUV, minivan, long. Yeah. Or you can just come up here and you can turn it off. whatever floats your boat. We'll go back, down again. Then you have speaker. Alright, so this is kind of a real easy way to set up the crossover. Some people don't understand what a crossover is, which is fine. So you just come in and you tell it what size speaker you have. Do you have a factory speaker? Do you have a 3.5, a 4-inch, a 4 3/4, a 5-inch, a 6.5, 6 3/4, 7-inch, 4x6, 7, you know. Alright, so you can tell it what size speaker you have, or if you want, you can come in and adjust the crossover. Now the crossover has, for the high pass, it has 50 hertz, 60 hertz, 80 hertz, 100 hertz, 120 hertz, 150 hertz, 180 hertz, and 220 hertz, along with a 6, 12, 18, or 24 dB per octave crossover. So you can come through and bang through this, and then here's your slope right here. Alright, and then you can turn it down if for some reason you feel you need to. Alright, so that's pretty cool. Get out of there, go back. Oh yeah, and then, I'm sorry, you also, we'll go back in here, tap speaker, crossover. You also have the sub crossover. Now the sub crossover frequencies are going to be very similar. You have 50, 60, 80, 100, 120, and then off altogether. You can just turn the subwoofer crossover off. And then you also have 6, 12, 18, or 24 on that too. So you can adjust that right here. Alright, let's get out of there. Alright, so we're done with that. We talked about that, and we'll come down here, and then you have position. Where are you sitting in the car? Alright, and then you can click adjust. Now in adjust, you can go in and adjust the footage between where your ear is and where that speaker is. And you can do it for each speaker, just by simply moving over here. And then you can turn it up and down. Or I'm sorry, you can turn it down. Can't turn it up. Initialize. Alright, so we'll bang out of there. And of course, get out of there. We'll go back down. Position, and then Dsp Bypasser through. Now, if you've set all this up and you're like, man, this is terrible, I don't like it, you can click Bypass, and that'll shut down the whole internal EQ. So if you're going to add this to something more expensive EQ or processor, such as Audison Bit or a Rockford 360 or something like that, and you don't want to use the processor built into it, you can click Bypass, and that'll shut it all down. Now last but not least is the Drive EQ. Drive EQ is a bass enhancement that's built into the radio. As you accelerate, it gets boomier. That's how it was explained to me.
It's boomier.
Boomier. Gotta love boomier. Alright, so, hot damn.
That's the EQ.
I know, right? Alright, so we hope this was informative. And that's it for tonight. You can find us
on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
And you guys have a great night. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And like we said before, look forward. We have more videos on this bad boy and all the little features that it's got. So stay tuned. Good night.
Hasta luego.